Hey everyone, so today we are going to play with subspaces. Okay, so suppose if you have a vector space over real numbers, well, this is true for any field, like if you take complex numbers or any arbitrary field, but let me stick to real numbers. So if you have a vector space over real numbers, and suppose if you have two subspaces, okay, so let W1 and W2 be subspace of V, then one can ask that if I add two subspaces, then will that addition again be a subspace? Answer is yes, and we are going to prove it. And after doing for two cases W1 and W2, one can ask, what if I take W1 plus W2 plus W3? Will that again form a subspace? Answer is yes. What if I take W1 plus W2 plus dot 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 plus Wn, some n number of subspace, and if I add them, will that again be a subspace? Answer is yes. So I'm going to prove for W1 plus W2 the same thing you can prove for W1 plus W2 plus dot 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 up to Wn. Okay, so that you give a try after looking the proof for this case. Okay, second is, if you take any scalar and you multiply a subspace by a scalar, then will this form a subspace? Answer is again yes. So scalar multiple of a subspace is again a subspace. And once you prove these two things, we are proving two things. So if you have a vector space and you take all possible subsets of that vector space, then that collection is also forming a subspace. This too, because when you call some set to be a subspace, you take two vector, their addition should again be in the same vector. You take a vector, you take a scalar, then that scalar multiplication should again be in that set. So given a vector space, you take all possible subspaces. You take two subspace. Is their addition again a subspace? Yes, that's what we are going to prove. You take a subspace, you take a scalar. Is that scalar multiplication again a subspace? Yes, that's what here we are going to prove. Therefore, 1 and 2 will imply that collection of all subspaces of a given vector space is again a subspace. That's one thing. Second thing, when I take lambda to be minus 1, then what this will say that minus of W1 is also a subspace. Okay, so once you have say W1 a subspace and you have W2 a subspace, then because of this property, I know that when I multiply by minus sign, it is also a subspace. So if I take W1 plus minus of W2, which is nothing but W1 minus W2. So using first and second, we can see that W1 minus W2 is again a subspace. Okay, so by simply taking lambda to be minus 1, so I have that minus W2 is a subspace. W1 is already a subspace given to you. When you add, what is this? This is nothing but minus W2. So I am not proving this separately because this is simply proved using 1 and 2. Okay, what is the next thing? Obviously comes the intersection. So we will prove that intersection of subspace is again a subspace. Now here also one can ask that why you have taken only W1 and W2. If I take W1 intersection W2 intersection W3, no problem, it's again a subspace. You take any arbitrary intersection of subspaces. I'm not saying finite, I'm saying you take any arbitrary intersection of subspace, so finite will also come into that, then it always forms a subspace. What about union? No, union of two subspaces need not be a subspace. So I will give you an example for this. Then obviously one can ask a question, when is the union a subspace? So for that I will tell you the condition that under so and so condition your union will always forms a subspace. So that's what the idea for today's session is. So let's go one by one. So how do you define addition of subspaces? You take a vector from W1, you take a vector from W2 and you simply add them up. So any vector in the addition is of the form x plus y, where x is in from the first set and y is from the second set. So this is how an element in this set looks like, and we want to prove that this is a subspace. Okay, now first thing, is it non-empty? Yes. Why? Because see, 0 belongs to W1. If you want, you can write bar also because they are vectors. Okay, so now 0 bar belongs to W1 and 0 bar belongs to W2 as well. So therefore 0 bar plus 0 bar. So this belongs to where? W1 plus W2. This 0 bar here, this 0 bar here. So this W1 plus W2 contains the 0 vector. Therefore it is non-empty. Okay, now since it is non-empty, I can take vectors. So let say A bar and B bar belongs to W1 plus W2. Now A bar belongs to W1. So how your A bar will look like? It is of the form, say, W1 plus W2, where your W1 belongs to capital W1 and small w2 belongs to this, right? Your B bar also belongs to this set. So how B bar will look like? It is of the form something plus something. So now I have already used W1. So let me use U1 plus U2, where your U1 bar is in W1 and your U2 bar is in W2. Now when I add them, what will be my A bar plus B bar? I want to show it is in this space. It is in this set. So what is A bar plus B bar? It is W1 bar plus W2 bar plus U1 bar plus U2 bar. But because of associativity, or you can say commutativity, I can interchange this. Sorry, because of commutativity. So this is nothing but you can interchange them. So after interchanging, I have W1 bar plus U1 bar plus W2 bar plus U2 bar. But W1 bar plus U1 bar, W1 is in capital W1, U1 is in capital W1, and W1 is a subspace. So this addition is again in W1. So let me call this addition as, say, which you can take, say, M1. So what is M1? It is W1 plus U1. Is M1 in capital W1? Yes. Why? Because it's a subspace, and addition of two elements of that subspace is again in that subspace. Cool. What about this? My W2 and U2 both are in capital W2. W2 is a subspace, so their addition is again in W2. So let me denote that by M2. So M2 is this two addition and M1 is this two addition. And this belongs to where? W1 plus W2. So what is A plus B? It is nothing but M1 plus M2, which is an element of W1 plus W2. So therefore, if I take two vectors from W1 plus W2, their addition is again in W1 plus W2. Fine. Now let's go for the multiplication. So if I take, say, A bar, so let your, this is a third point, so let A bar belongs to W1 plus W2. Okay, and let your lambda, or let me take alpha, let alpha belongs to the real number. What is your claim? Your claim is alpha into A bar belongs to W1 plus W2. So alpha into A bar should be of this form. So how your A bar will look like? A bar will be of the form, say, W1 plus W2, where your W1 is in capital W1 and W2 is in capital W2. Now what will be alpha into A bar? It is alpha into W1 plus W2. Again by distributivity, this is alpha into W1 bar plus alpha into W2 bar. Cool. Now is this element of W1? Yes. Because W1 bar belongs to W1, alpha is a scalar and W1 is a subspace. So therefore this multiplication is in capital W1. So let me call this multiplication as, say, U1. Okay, where your U1 is where? Is in W1. So this is a place where we are using that W1 and W2 are subspaces. Is alpha into W2 bar belongs to capital W2? Yes, because W2 bar is in W2, alpha is a real number and capital W2 is a subspace. Therefore this product is in capital W2. And let me denote this by U2 bar. And where U2 bar belongs to W2. So therefore alpha into A bar is also of the form something plus something, where the first something is in W1 and the second something is in W2. So therefore this belongs to W1 plus W2. So thus we proved that addition of two subspaces is again a subspace. Now let's go for the scalar multiplication. So if W is a subspace of V and lambda is some fixed real number, so you do this multiplication. So how do you multiply a scalar with a set? You multiply that scalar with each element of that set. So this is lambda into W bar, where W bar is in W. So you multiply each element by this lambda. Then this is what is called as a scalar multiplication. Now is this non-empty? Yes. Why? Because 0 bar belongs to W, is a subspace. So this implies what is lambda into 0 bar? It is 0 bar. Right? So therefore your 0 bar is nothing but lambda into 0 bar. So this belongs to where? Lambda into capital W. So 0 bar belongs to lambda into W. Therefore it's a non-empty set. Okay, now let's go for the addition and scalar multiplication. So let your a bar and b bar belongs to lambda w, and let me prove together, let alpha belongs to r. Either you can prove a bar plus b bar and say alpha into a bar belongs to this set separately, or I can combine these two as alpha into a bar plus b bar. So when I do it this way, I'm combining the addition as well as the scalar operation. So that will reduce my work. For first one I did independently. Now let's do together for this case. Okay. So what I want to prove, what is my claim? Our claim is alpha into a bar plus b bar belongs to lambda into w. Okay, now a bar is in lambda w. So how your a bar will look like? Your a bar will be some lambda into w1, where w1 is in capital W. Your b bar will be lambda into w2, where w2 is in capital W. So as any element is multiple, so a bar and b bar will be multiple of lambda. Okay, now what is alpha into a bar plus b bar? It is alpha into lambda w1. Your alpha will go inside, alpha into lambda w2. Sorry, your alpha will not be here. So this is what we have. Now if you take out lambda outside, what do we have? You have alpha w1 plus w2. Fine, this is what we get. Now is this element of w? Yes. Why? Because w1 and w2 are in capital W. Since w is a subspace, so the linear combination is again in w. So let me call this as a small w. So this is lambda into w. What is my small w? This. And this is in capital W because it's a subspace. So what do we get? This belongs to lambda into capital W because w bar is in capital W. So therefore linear combination is again a multiple of lambda w. Therefore lambda w is also a subspace. And thus we have ultimately proved that collection of all subspaces is again a subspace. And when my lambda is -1, this says that your minus w is also a subspace. So if you have w1 and w2 two subspaces, then minus w2 is also a subspace, and when you add, you get w1 minus w2, again a subspace. Okay, so proving first two things is ultimately I'm proving four things. Okay, good. So now let's go for the intersection part. So now we want to prove that w1 intersection w2 is a subspace. The same thing works if you want to take, suppose, w1 intersection w2 intersection w3, or up to so on intersection wn. The same proof will work, only here we will write w1 intersection w2 intersection wn. That's the same thing. Here also w1 w2 up to wn. So therefore this will be in w1 intersection w2 intersection wn. Or in short, if you do this, if you know this indexing set, if you know this, where lambda is in any indexing set, then this also forms a subspace. Okay, but it's okay if you don't know this, then it's okay. But if you know this fact, then this also forms a subspace. That means what? Arbitrary intersection of subspace is again a subspace. So the same proof works. You try to prove it. If you get stuck, you can ask me in the comment section. Okay, so first thing I need to show that it is non-empty. Now w1 and w2 are subspaces. That means they will definitely contain the 0 vector. So 0 bar is in w1, 0 bar is in w2. That means what? Your 0 bar is in the intersection. So cool, it is non-empty. Now what is the next thing? You take two vectors in the intersection and alpha belongs to R. Then I want to show that their linear combination is again in the intersection. Okay, now if you are not comfortable with this, what you can do is you can prove separately also. You first prove that a bar plus b bar is in w1 intersection w2, and then you prove separately that alpha into a bar is in the intersection. So that you can do. Okay, but okay, let me play together. Okay, now how your a bar, where is your a bar? Now your a bar is in w1 intersection w2, right? This implies what? Your a bar is in w1 and a bar is in w2. Intersection means what? It is in both the set. Now since both of them are subspaces, this implies what? Your alpha into a bar belongs to w1 and alpha into a bar belongs to w2. Fine? Okay, good. Now what about b bar? Your b bar is also in w1 intersection w2. This implies what? Your b bar is in w1 and your b bar is in w2. Now look over here. Now alpha A bar is in W1, your B bar is in W1. W1 is a subspace, therefore this 2 implies that alpha A plus B is in W1 because it's a subspace. Similarly, if you look here, your alpha A bar is in W2, your B bar is in W2, and W2 is a subspace. Therefore, alpha A bar plus B bar is in W2 as well. So alpha A plus B, it's in W1 as well as it's in W2. That means what? This is in the intersection, and that's what we wanted to prove. So therefore, intersection of two subspace is again a subspace. But these nice things which we are having for addition, scalar multiplication, intersection is not true for the union. So union of two subspaces need not be a subspace. So let's first see an example for this. So let V be R2, which is a real vector space. Let W1 be the x-axis. So how does the element of x-axis looks like? Something comma 0. Let W2 be the y-axis. It is of the form 0 comma something. And they both form the subspaces of R2. Yes, because what are the subspaces of R2? You take any line passing through origin, it will always form a subspace. So both the lines are passing through origin, therefore it's a subspace. Now, is the union a subspace? Answer is no. Why? You take two elements from this and we will see that its addition is not in this. Okay, so is 1 comma 0 belongs to W1 union W2? Union means what? It should be in either one of the sets. So you can see that 1 comma 0 is in W1, therefore it is in the union. Is 0 comma 1 belongs to the union? Yes. When you say something to be in the union, when this element is in one of the sets. So 0 comma 1 is in W2, therefore it is in the union. So these two elements are in the union. But what about their addition? When I add them, what do I get? 1 comma 1. Does 1 comma 1 belongs to W1 union W2? So when do we say it is in the union? When 1 comma 1 is either in W1 or it is in W2. If it is in one of the sets, we will say it is in the union. But as you can see, 1 comma 1 is not in W1, because for W1, for an element to be in W1, the second component has to be 0. Is the second component 0? No. So therefore this element is not in W1. Is this element in W2? No. Because for an element to be in W2, its first component has to be 0. Is the first component 0? No. So 1 comma 1 is neither in W1 nor in W2, hence it is not in the union. So we are having two vectors. When you are adding them up, it is not belonging to the same set. Therefore, union of two subspaces is not a subspace. So question is, when does it forms a subspace? And therefore the theorem is, union of two subspace is a subspace if and only if one of the subspace is contained in other. So here is a precise statement that if you have two subspaces, then the union is subspace if and only if one of them is contained in other. Okay, so for the proof there is a separate lecture. The link you will find in the description. So please go through the proof, and if you have any doubt you can ask me in the comment section, and if everything is clear then please do not forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you.